If you own 0.01 Bitcoin, just $900 worth, you're in the top 0.125% of people globally. If you own 0.1 Bitcoin, just $9,000 worth, you're in the top 0.055%. You've got more Bitcoin than 99.95% of people. And if you own one full Bitcoin, you're better than 99.99% of people. Out of 8 billion people on the planet, only about 1 million people own one Bitcoin or more. There are 5 levels of wealth in Bitcoin in 2025, and where you stand right now will determine whether or not Bitcoin will change your life in the future. And where you stand right now will determine whether Bitcoin changes your life or whether you just watch others get rich. In this video, I'm breaking down all 5 levels of Bitcoin wealth from 0.01 Bitcoin all the way to 10 plus Bitcoin, showing you exactly the percentile you're in compared to everyone on earth, and why the $84 trillion wealth transfer from boomers is about to accelerate everything. Let's break it down. I'm Brandon from Green Candle. I break down Bitcoin wealth tiers and show you exactly where you stand in the global population. If you want to know which of the 5 levels you're at and what it takes better than 99.95% of people, hit that subscribe button right now. Let me show you the 5 levels of Bitcoin wealth. Before we dive into each level, let me give you a framework. There are 5 levels of Bitcoin wealth in 2025. There's the dust holder. This has less than 0.01 Bitcoin or under $900. This is literally 99.875% of humanity, 7.99 billion people. So it doesn't take much to get you higher than a dust holder. And the next level is an accumulator. That's from 0.01 Bitcoin all the way to 0.1 Bitcoin. It's a wide range of $900 to $9,000, but this will put you in the top 0.125% of humanity in a group exclusive of 8 to 10 million people. The next level is the elite. This is 0.1 to 1 Bitcoin, nearly a whole coiner, $9,000 to about $90,000 at the time of this recording. This will put you in the top 0.055% of humanity, nearly 4.4 million people. Next is the whole coiner. This is 1 to 10 Bitcoin, 90,000 to 900,000. This will put you in the top 0.01% of humanity, where there's only about a million people. And then lastly, of course, there's the Bitcoin whale, which puts you at the top 0.0025% of humanity, with only 150,000 to about 200,000 people. Each level represents a different position in the global wealth hierarchy. Most people, 99.945% of humanity, never make it past level 2. Only 4.4 million people out of the 8 billion globally have reached that level 3 or higher. So let's break down each level, show you what it's worth, and tell you exactly what you need to do to move up. Let's start at the bottom. So right now, globally, there's about 8.2 billion people on Earth. So how exclusive is the level of having less than 0.01 Bitcoin? At the time of this recording, there's just over 57 million Bitcoin addresses that have non-zero amounts of Bitcoin. So you can get into this exclusive class for the $900. It'll put you in the bottom 99.875% of humanity, where you'll join a group full of 7.99 billion people. So you're a dust holder. You have less than 0.01 Bitcoin. What does this level mean? You're in the bottom 99.875% of humanity when it comes to Bitcoin ownership. Out of that 8 billion people on Earth, 7.99 billion people own less than 0.01 Bitcoin. You bought $50 worth of Bitcoin 3 years ago and forgot about it. Or someone tipped you some Satoshis. Or you're testing the waters with $100. You don't really own Bitcoin. You own dust. You're a spectator. You're the person who says, yeah, I bought some Bitcoin back in 2020. When the person asks how much, you say, not much, just a little bit. When Bitcoin goes to 1 million or you have a few $1,000s, it'll be enough to feel good about yourself, but not enough to change that financial situation. So out of 8 billion people globally, about 3 billion people, or 37.5%, have less than $10,000 in total wealth. At level 1 in Bitcoin, you're in the same position. Part of the global masses with essentially nothing. So these 7.99 billion people at level 1, they'll likely stay there forever. They'll own $50 to $500 in Bitcoin, watch it 10x, and think they got rich. They didn't. They're still at the bottom 99.875%. So don't be a part of that. Become an accumulator. The next level, level 2, having 0.01 Bitcoin to 0.1 Bitcoin. This will put you in the top 0.125% of humanity. So you've escaped the bottom 99.875%, and now you're in the top 0.125. Now you're in the top 0.125% of all humans on Earth. Out of 8 billion people on the planet, only about 10 million have about 0.12 0.1 Bitcoin. That's 1 in 800 people. You have 900 to 9,000 in Bitcoin. You're DCAing, you're learning, you're taking it seriously, but you're not the ultra elite yet. You're not in the top 0.055%. You're rare. You're 1 in 800 people globally. You're ahead of 99.875% of people in humanity. So out of 8 billion people on Earth, about 2 billion people, 25%, have about 100K to 500K in net worth. You're positioned better in Bitcoin being at the top 0.125% than most people are in traditional wealth, or the top 25%, but you're still not rich. So here's some real world comparisons. Stock, the median 401k balance is about $30,000. If you have 0.03 Bitcoin, about $2,700 today, and Bitcoin goes to $1 million, that's about $30,000. That's the same as a median retirement account. Helpful, but not a retire early money. Real estate, having 10% equity of a $420,000 home, that's $42,000 in equity. So if you have 0.04 Bitcoin, or about 3,600 today, you have to wait till Bitcoin hits $1 million until you have the same. But that's still a down payment assistant, not a full down payment. So level 2 is respectable. You're still in the top 0.125% of humans on Earth, but top 0.125% isn't rare enough. It doesn't change your life. To have Bitcoin be truly transformative, you need to reach the top 0.055%. You need to reach level 3. If you're realizing that you need to be in the top 0.055% of humanity and want to know how, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button. Now, let me show you level 3, where Bitcoin actually changes your life. This is the elite class. You have 0.1 Bitcoin to 1 full coin, about $9,000 to $90,000 at the time of this recording. You've made it. You're in the top 0.055% of all humans on Earth. And out of 8 billion people, there's only 4.4 million that have this amount. And out of 8 billion people on the planet, only 4.4 million have 0.1 Bitcoin or more. That's 1 in 1818. That's 1 in 1,818 people. You're rarer than a millionaire. There are 62 million millionaires globally, which is 0.775% of humanity. And being a millionaire is 14 times more common than owning 0.1 Bitcoin. So you're the type of person that prioritized Bitcoin over everything for the past 2 to 3 years. People thought you were crazy when Bitcoin was a scam, but now you're in the top 0.055% of humanity. So here's some real world comparisons. Real estate. This is like owning a home free and clear. The median home in the US is about $420,000. And at 400K Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin is a fully paid off house. And at $1 million Bitcoin, well, that's 2.4 paid off houses. So even if you just own half a Bitcoin and it goes to 1 million, you have 500,000. That's more than most people's home equity. And only about 100. For a stocks comparison, you need a comfortable retirement portfolio. Only about 100 million people globally, 1.25% of humanity, have 500K in investable assets. So if you have 0.5 or 1 full Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to 1 million, that's I can retire money for most people. Now, comparing it to net worth, there's only 62 million millionaires globally. And if you have 1 Bitcoin and it goes to 1 million, you're a millionaire from Bitcoin alone. And if you're in a more exclusive club, 0.0125% own 1 Bitcoin or more than traditional millionaires of the 0.775%. So here's the harsh truth. Nearly 8 billion people will never reach level 3. Not because they can't afford it, but because they won't prioritize it. They'll spend $9,000 on a vacation, a new car down payment, furniture, eating out for a year. They'll spend $9,000 on consumption instead of position. And they'll stay at the bottom 99.945% forever. So don't be a part of that. Try to get to the level 4 or the whole coiner. This is a Bitcoin position between 1 to 10 Bitcoin. The next level is the whole coiner, the 1 to 10 Bitcoin. You're in the ultra elite. the top 0.0125% of humanity. You're 1 in 8,000 people on Earth. Out of the 8 billion people on the planet, only about 1 million have 1+ Bitcoin. You're rarer than somebody with a $10 million net worth. Only about 600,000 people globally, or 0.0075%, have $10 million net worth. You're the person that either got in early, had capital, got aggressive, or built a business. Regular people with regular incomes starting today will not reach level 4. The math just doesn't work. One Bitcoin today is about $90,000. That's 2 to 3 years of medium household income in the United States, which is about $59,000. So by the time you save 90K, Bitcoin will be about 300 to 500,000. So the traditional wealth equivalent is, out of the 8 billion people, only about 600,000, or 0.0075%, have a $10 million net worth or more. So owning one Bitcoin puts you roughly in the same percentile as somebody with a $10 million net worth. These are people with multiple rental properties, private wealth managers. They never worry about money, and they have generational wealth. So for some real world comparisons, this is somebody who owns multiple properties in real estate. Out of 8 billion people, about 100 million, or 1.25% of the population, own multiple properties. You're a real estate mogul in terms of wealth, even if you've never bought a single property. Stocks, this is an ultra wealthy retirement account. So out of that 8 billion people, less than 1 million have $5 million in their retirement account. So if you own 5 Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to $1 million, you have $5 million. You're in the same percentile as people with $5 million in their retirement account. Now, the net worth is where it gets interesting, because you're a multi-millionaire right now as it stands. Out of 8 billion people, about only 8 million, or 0.1%, have $5 million net worth or more. If you have 5 Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to $1 million, you're in the top 0.1% of global wealth. So here's the brutal truth. Out of 8 billion people on Earth, nearly all of them will never reach level 4. So the one Bitcoin club is closing. In 2013, you could buy one Bitcoin for $100. 2017, $3,000. 2020, $7,000. Today, one Bitcoin's about $90,000. And by 2027, one Bitcoin will be $300,000 to $500,000. So if you're not in level 4 by 2026, you'll likely never get there. The window is closing. Next is the Bitcoin whales. You have 10 plus Bitcoin. Your Bitcoin royalty. You're 1 in 40,000 people on Earth. Out of 8 billion people on the planet, maybe 200,000 have 10 plus Bitcoin. That's 0.0025% of humanity. You're as rare as somebody with $50 million worth of net worth. Only about 200,000 people globally, or 0.0025%, have $50 million net worth or more. You're ultra wealthy, dynasty level wealth. If this is you, you're either an early Bitcoin miner, a Bitcoin buyer in 2011 to 14 who never sold, an institutional investor, or a tech entrepreneur who went in all early. You're not listening to this to get to level 5. You're already here and you've already won. Out of the 8 billion people on Earth, only about 2,000 people, or 0.000025%, are billionaires. About 200,000 people, or 0.0025%, have a $50 million worth of net worth. Level 5 Bitcoin holders are at the $50 million net worth equivalent in terms of global rarity. Family office, philanthropic foundations, market moving wealth, legacy. The reality, out of the 8 billion people, majority will not reach level 5. 10 Bitcoin today is about $900,000. If you have a spare $900,000, you don't need Bitcoin advice from YouTube. Level 5 is for the people who have already won. Now, whether you're climbing from the bottom or at the top 0.0055% of people, the last thing you want to do is sell your Bitcoin for cash. That's where Salt lending comes in. Salt has some of the best rates in the game, starting as low as 8.95% with a 12-month duration and 70% LTV. They're giving an exclusive offer to Green Candle listeners. You can go to saltlending.com/green-candle or the affiliate link down below, and you can use promo code GCSALT-01, and this will give you 50 basis points off your interest rate if you enter that into the loan calculator. So you'll see that discount applied instantly once you submit the rest of your application. So if you go to saltlending.com/green-candle, you enter promo code GCSALT-01, you'll get 50 basis points off the best rate that they can get. When Bitcoin is crashing, you don't want to have Bitcoin out as leverage and worry about potentially getting liquidated. This is why Salt is the best, because they've got Salt Shield, their no liquidation solution. So you don't have to worry about potentially getting liquidated when you see Bitcoin's price crashing. So be sure to go check out my friends over at Salt Lending, because now I'm going to show you why timing matters more than you think. Here's what most people don't understand. The 5 levels aren't static. What level you're at right now determines what happens when the largest wealth transfer in history happens. The baby boomer wealth bond is coming. Baby boomers currently own $76.2 trillion worth of global wealth, which is 56% of the entire global wealth, which is 52% of the entire global wealth. To put that in perspective, baby boomers are just 21% of the entire global population. So over the next 20 to 30 years, $84 trillion worth in the United States alone is going to transfer from boomers to the younger generations. The largest wealth transfer in history. Now, where is that wealth now? Majority is in real estate, where they bought houses for $30,000 and are now worth $500,000 or $1 million. They've seen the stocks, the S&P 500, go from 100 to nearly $7,000 during their lifetime. They've also got it in bonds and in pensions, which don't exist for millennials. And traditionally, when kids inherit stocks and real estate, they keep them in stocks and real estate. And Wall Street captures that wealth transfer. But millennials and Gen Z are different. They've lived through the 2008 financial crisis, where parents lost homes, banks got bailed out. They lived through the 2020 money printing with unlimited QE and dollar debasement. We're living through the 2022 to the 2025 inflation craze. It's the highest in 40 years, and many of us can't afford homes. We've also living through a student debt crisis, which is crippling debt that boomers never had. So millennials, Gen Z, we don't trust the system. We want Bitcoin. So this wealth transfer is going directly into Bitcoin. Now, if just 5 to 10% of that $84 trillion flows into Bitcoin, well, that 5% is $4.2 trillion, and that 10% is $8.4 trillion. With Bitcoin's current market cap just around $2 trillion, and with that liquid supply of just around 2.1 million Bitcoin left on exchanges, well, that 5% wealth transfer will shoot Bitcoin to $2 million worth of coin, and that 10% wealth transfer will shoot Bitcoin to $4.2 million a coin. And these are just conservative estimates. So Bitcoin can hit that $1 to $2 million during those peaks somewhere between 2030 and 2040. So the wealth transfer hasn't hit yet. And right now you can reach the top 0.055% with just $9,000. By 2030, that'll be $50,000 to $100,000. The window, it's now. No matter where you're at, climbing to the top 0.055% or protecting your position in the top 0.0125%, you need self-custody. That's where Trezor comes in. So as this wealth transfer accelerates, the exchanges will face pressure. There's going to be a liquidity crisis, accounts freezing, and platform collapses. So you need to get your Bitcoin into cold storage. And if you're watching this video between November 18th and December 3rd, I've got some great news for you. Trezor is giving exclusive Black Friday offers. You can get the Trezor Safe 3 and Safe 5 for 40% off if you go to the affiliate link down below. And the Trezor Safe 7, which is now available, you can get a free wireless charger with any purchase. So make sure you guys take advantage of these Black Friday deals, because they won't last long, and it's a good way to save you some sats while also protecting your sats. But don't stop there. You need to protect your seed phrase with Crypto Steel, because it's fireproof, waterproof, and crush proof. Don't store your generational wealth on a piece of paper, because a house fire or a flood cannot be allowed to destroy your position in the global elite. You can go to cryptosteel.com/greencandle or the link in the description and use promo code GREENCANDLE for 10% off your entire order. So go ahead and take advantage of these Black Friday deals to get your Bitcoin off exchanges for even cheaper. So out of 8 billion people on Earth, only 4.4 million people have reached level 3 or 0.1 Bitcoin or more. So 99.945% will never reach level 3. So your goal should be to reach at least 0.1 Bitcoin as quickly as possible, because there's an $84 trillion wealth transfer that is coming very soon. So after that wealth transfer accelerates and Bitcoin's price explodes, whatever global percentile you're in right now will stay permanent. If you want weekly breakdowns on the 5 levels of Bitcoin wealth, the $84 trillion wealth transfer, and how to reach the top 0.055% of humanity, be sure to subscribe to this channel. From 0.01 Bitcoin to 10 plus Bitcoin, that's all the 5 5 levels. Where do you stand compared to these 8 billion people? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at one of these next ones.